The Indiana Fever are in a disastrous situation right now. They're in an absolutely disastrous situation.
We're talking about broken trust, a star left unprotected, and a team seemingly imploding from the inside out. Caitlin Clark's battles go far beyond defenders on the court. She's out there fighting this war alone. And one particularly disturbing comment from Sophie Cunningham makes it crystal clear. I think we've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own island. This isn't just dysfunction. It's a total collapse. If you're still backing Caitlin Clark and believe she deserves better than the chaos surrounding her, comment defend Caitlin Clark down below, because after Sophie's brutally honest admission, it's undeniable. This team is in pieces, and no one's stepping up to shield the generational talent they've been gifted. Caitlin Clark is the WNBA centerpiece, the league's biggest star, the most talked about woman in league history. She's the engine, the headline, the ticket seller. She's Rookie of the Year, and arguably the reason the WNBA's visibility is skyrocketing. Everything orbits around her. But inside her own team? That gravity is being ignored. For weeks, fans have sensed something was seriously wrong inside the Indiana Fever locker room. Now, thanks to Sophie, the mask is off. She confirmed what everyone had been quietly fearing. This locker room is fractured, splitting at the seams during the one stretch of time when Caitlin Clark needs unity more than ever. In her post-game press conference, Sophie didn't sugarcoat a thing. She said outright, "We have our own islands." That line hit like a bombshell. This isn't just about bad rotations or defensive lapses. It's about disconnection. A roster full of individuals who aren't playing, or thinking, as a unit. No solidarity. No shared purpose. No leadership. Everybody's floating on their own personal island. And when a once-in-a-generation player like Caitlin Clark is at the center of that? That's not just bad news, it's a 5-alarm emergency. Sophie even admitted the team is unsteady, that they aren't leaning on each other the way they should. Translation? Caitlin's not just getting elbowed and blindsided by opponents, she's also being emotionally and physically abandoned by the very teammates who should be running to her side. Caitlin Clark is basically holding this whole franchise together with duct tape. The structure around her is shaky at best. The team that was built to support her can't even stay cohesive for 4 quarters. Last year, even when the Fever lost, they lost together. There was unity. A bond. But this season? That energy is gone. Sophie flat out said it, things are different now. Even when they were racking up losses last year, at least the locker room had good vibes. Now, Sophie's practically waving a giant red flag. And this isn't some emotional rookie venting. Sophie Cunningham is a seasoned veteran, so when she's raising concerns, you know the damage is real. She even took ownership, saying she personally needs to do more to bring the team together. But let's be honest, that doesn't erase the fault lines that have already cracked wide open. What Sophie's really saying is that the team dynamic is broken. Caitlin Clark is trapped in a locker room that doesn't have her back, mentally, emotionally, or physically. And the dysfunction? It's bleeding into every single game. And here's the worst part, in those brutal matchups where Caitlin is getting hammered, who's stepping in to defend her? No one. You don't see teammates rushing to her defense. Instead, they fall apart during the pressure moments. Sophie even pointed it out, they gave up 35 points in a single quarter. 35. That's not just a defensive lapse, it's a meltdown. That's a team that's lost focus, discipline, and trust. This isn't about a rough stretch or bad matchups. This is a culture crisis. The Indiana Fever are spiraling into disaster territory. And when your franchise star is left to fend for herself, this isn't your typical rebuild, it's a full-on implosion. At this point, it's hard not to wonder if this team is even fixable. Sophie's brutally honest take about teammates living on isolated islands didn't come out of nowhere. It's the result of months of dysfunction, questionable decisions, and a front office that seems oblivious to how to support their one true asset, Caitlin Clark. And it gets worse. A lot of this mess points directly back to the decisions surrounding DeWanna Bonner and Natasha Howard. Let's set the record straight. Bonner wasn't just another veteran pickup, she was handed a max contract in the off-season. Still one of the most baffling decisions analysts have seen. Sure, Bonner brought experience, but also baggage. And instead of unifying the team, she reportedly drove wedges. Her shooting was cold, her presence divisive. And when she was abruptly cut, the WNBA world was stunned, until they took a closer look. Suddenly, it all made sense. Bonner wasn't just underperforming, she might have been one of the biggest sources of tension in a team already struggling to function. Reports swirled that Bonner had her own little clique, her own island, inside the locker room. One analyst even wondered aloud, did the Fever finally let her go just to salvage what was left of team chemistry? Then there's Natasha Howard, an even bigger enigma. Fans have ripped into her for lack of urgency, lazy effort, and strange sideline behavior. In one game, she showed more affection toward a rival player's leg than she ever showed concern for her own teammates. Caitlin Clark gets rocked by a hard foul? Howard does nothing. Aaliyah Boston gets roughed up? Crickets. Sophie gets slammed to the floor? Nothing. No reaction. No protection. No leadership. Meanwhile, Howard is quick to check on opponents like it's a friendship league, but can't even raise an eyebrow when her own teammates are being physically targeted. And yet, despite all that, Howard keeps getting major minutes. Why? Fans think the answer lies in her personal ties to head coach Stephanie White, who coached her back in Indiana years ago. It's not about performance, it's about politics. That kind of favoritism is exactly how you destroy a locker room. While loyal, fired-up players like Sophie Cunningham ride the bench, disconnected vets like Howard soak up the spotlight. And what's the result? A team split into actual factions. One analyst even drew it up, Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, and Lexi Hull on one side. Natasha Howard, Sydney Colson, and Jordan Canada forming another group. Sydney, the self-declared class clown, is off doing TikTok dances with Stephanie White and Aaliyah Boston. Meanwhile, players like Damaris Dantas are just stuck in the middle, not knowing where to stand or who to align with. It's gotten so toxic that there's even whispered chatter about something uglier at play, rumors of a locker room race divide. And while that's a heavy accusation, insiders say the split is real, and it's bigger than basketball. One analyst said it bluntly, they want to play for Caitlin, but something outside the court is pulling them away. When internal fractures like that take root, they don't just hurt chemistry, they ruin entire seasons. Remember last year's Fever squad? They weren't stacked with talent, but they had heart. They had each other's backs. That bond is nowhere to be found now. And without glue players like Erica Wheeler or Temi Fagbenel, leaders who used to anchor the culture, there's no one left to keep this roster in check.